Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead video for today, leading up to the second half for The Walking Dead Season 9. In this one, we'll be doing sort of a dead update. We'll give our thoughts first on the title and description for the first episode, the mid-season premiere for this back half of Season 9, as well as give our thoughts on Chandler Riggs' new show that he has been cast for, and get into some of your guys' Q&A questions. And I'll put the links in the description to all of these different news items for you guys, so you can check through yourselves if you want to go ahead and see them. So I wanted to do definitely a video this week as a dead update, since it's been a little bit since I've done a Walking Dead video. You know, it's been like close to a week or something. Like, I forget exactly when I made the last one, but if you guys missed me, I'm still here. Don't worry, I'm not dead or anything. Zombies didn't get me yet. I'm cool, but just there hasn't been that much. Like, there hasn't been that much to discuss. You know, as far as discussion topic videos this year. You know, we just saw a crazy first half of The Walking Dead Season 9. We saw Rick leave. They announced the movies, all this crazy stuff. So we went through all of that, and then, you know, it's January, so a little bit of a lull period, but we have just over a couple weeks here now for the return of The Walking Dead. So obviously we'll be making a lot more videos as we get closer to the return date. Then after that, for Game of Thrones and Fear the Walking Dead, lots of videos for those. And we'll just continue right on forward as we go. But I can't always promise a video every single day, just to let you guys know. And I want to, you know, like I like to, you know, it's not like I haven't been trying lately, but it's just that, you know, sometimes like, well, is there enough for us to really discuss, right? That's part of it too. So, and there's a new cover for the Walking Dead comic book series I want to do a video on maybe tomorrow. So I'll have that for you guys soon. So long story short, thank you guys for your patience. Sorry I haven't made a video in the last few days. It's just that and the weather and everything else and work, and you know how it goes, guys. You know how it goes. So the premiere episode for the second half of The Walking Dead Season 9 to start things off is called Adaptation, which is kind of similar with what we've been going along with lately. We had Evolution, right? That was the mid-season finale, and now we have Adaptation. So adapt in order to survive, right? So the official synopsis for Adaptation reads: the group unmasks a disturbing and dangerous new threat. An escaped captive revisits his past. So I think we know for the escaped captive one. So Negan, right? We've seen in the trailer. He's going back to the sanctuary. And unfortunately for him, as we've seen from the preview and as we kind of know, it looks like he'll be going back to the sanctuary and nobody's going to be there. So that's going to be maybe, you know, will Negan shed a tear? Will he cry a little bit when he gets back there? I would think so, because he'll probably be happy at first when he's whistling and walking in. But then for him to actually be there and to see, like, holy shit, there's nobody here, right? It's like a ghost factory, like a ghost town. He goes there, he goes through, maybe there he kills a few walkers or whatever. This is what I'm thinking in my mind. And then he goes through, and the saviors are just no more. Like, there's nothing there for Negan. So I kind of feel sad for Negan. I'm happy he's escaped, right? But at the same time, I'm kind of sad for him, because he's going to go there after this time skip, and the whole place will have fallen apart without him, right? The whole place will be just nothing grows there, and it's just gone, right? It's just, that's it. It's totally done. His saviors, the ones that were good, have assimilated themselves in with the other surviving groups of Alexandria, the Hilltop, and the Kingdom, who he fought against in the war. And of course, Rick is gone, but at the same time, you know, there's everyone that was a part of his story is also gone. So he's going to have to make a new story. So we'll see what happens with Negan. Very excited to see, and very happy to see Negan is still in the series, right? The group, because now is when you want to see some Negan, when you got all the whisper stuff going on. It's going to be fun. So the group unmasks a disturbing and dangerous new threat. I mean, you know, yeah. I mean, it's pretty, kind of goes without saying. That part of the description is like, well, yeah, obviously. You know, so they unmask it. They find out what it's about. Maybe they capture Lydia in the first couple episodes. Maybe they bring her back. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. And you know, after that, of course, we'll probably see Alpha go to the Hilltop and discuss to try to get conditions to you know, have them release her, something of the sort. Something like this is what we'll probably see. So Adaptation, very cool. That's February 10th is the return date. And so the next one is for this guy. Yeah, this guy right here, right? So I gotta update this backdrop. I gotta update this poster. We got, like, you know, we got Chandler Riggs there, we got Negan in the middle, but it's so, you know, it's just, it's like, it's a totally different world now, right? Like, everything has changed. So even though this was just last year at this time, like, this was literally 1 year ago, right? To see that there in All Out War that they had Chandler Riggs in the show, of course, as Carl, and we never thought we would ever see it. But they did what they did. He's no longer in the show, and happy for him, though, that it's a year later now, and he's landed another great role. So I think he's had other movies and stuff he's been working on. I've checked his IMDb, and he's had some other projects, and that's great to see. But it sounds like this one is probably going to be a really good one for him. This is a TV series, a new TV series, which is called A Million Little Things. Okay, so that's what it's called. So happy to hear that for him, man. So he says, 4 days ago, I was almost unemployed for a full year. Right now, I'm sitting on the set of season 1 of an incredible TV show for my first day of work. Life changes really drastically, really quickly. Well, it sure can. So that was via his Twitter on Monday. So happy to hear that for him. And yeah, I mean, that's a great, that's great, because that's one of the things I think, when you see something like that, when you have somebody, killed off like that, that's a huge star in a series like that, you always wonder, how is that going to be able to transition? Well, first of all, we never thought they would kill him off ever, right? Because as you're seeing Rick leave, and you're seeing Dwight leave to Fear, and Morgan left to Fear, and you're just seeing The Walking Dead become totally different. A lot of us are sitting here saying, like, man, it would have been really cool if Carl was still there to have in the original series. It would feel, they got Judith, and okay, that's cool. They're making a new star out of Judith and that kind of thing, and that's fine. But it would have been really cool. They didn't do it. They went kind of with a crazy swerve, and they killed him off during All Out War, which nobody saw coming, and they used it for a mid-season finale and all that. So he went out on top. He went out during a big season when The Walking Dead, still for 2018, there's another one here we'll get into soon, but it was the most, one of the 2 most anticipated series of last year, along with Stranger Things, according to a Fox Analytics polls. So Walking Dead and Stranger Things, the 2 most in-demand series of 2018. So even after all the changes and everything that's happened, it still was the most in-demand series last year, and it's probably going to continue to be still one of the most in-demand series this year, because Walking Dead is always going to be popular. You'll always have hardcore fans for it, I think. And even though it might not be as popular as it once was, it will always be popular to some degree. So he also says here, crime thriller Inherent the Viper, starring Josh Hartnett and Bruce Dern in Sci-Fi Only, where Riggs appeared alongside former Walking Dead stars Joshua McKell, who's Savior Jared, right? Jared. And Jason Warner Smith, who was Savior General Gavin. So that's cool. Then he says here, it wasn't just Carl dying. It was also me leaving the show and kind of moving on to other things. Riggs said just a week ago of filming his emotional death scene when exiting the show, now in its 9th season. So many ways it was pretty symbolic, just for the cast and crew, just for me to be leaving the show in the first place. It was a pretty big deal for all of us. And yeah, it sucked, and it was many long days. But I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I'm really happy with my performances, and I'm happy with how I left the show. So that's great, man. Happy for him that he's in a good place, and he's got other work that he's going to be doing. And, who knows, man? It could work out even better for him since he's not on Walking Dead. We've seen that, we've seen it with a lot of the other people. You got John Bernthal, of course, as we always say, and I don't mean to say it all the time, but Punisher Season 2 just hit, so... obviously he's done incredibly well for himself, and a lot of the people that have left Sonequa Martin Green with Star Trek, and a lot of the people that have left The Walking Dead have gone on to just, do awesome things in their career and lead other series and do all that. So that's awesome to see, and I'm very happy for him because he is at a younger age and everything than a lot of the other people who have left, and probably, like a lot of us thought, well, he's got a guaranteed job for many, many years. And then, of course, reality steps in and says, wait a minute, don't be so sure, right? And that's for all of us, too, right? Everybody who thinks, their job is so secure and everything like that, it's like, whoa, you don't know for sure. You can have that, and you can think that, but it's 100%, no, you can't say 100%. No matter how good you are, no matter what the situation is, you never know for sure. So you always got to be ready. You always got to be prepared if you need to switch up, if you need to do something else. So congratulations to him from all of us, and we hope his new series does really well. That's great. And there's another one from comicbook.com where they kind of reaffirmed again that we're going to be seeing lots of flashbacks in the second half. It says, we'll see. It will be used, I'll say, It's more than once. The Walking Dead showrunner Angela Kang told Entertainment Weekly, it's a little different each time. It's something that tells specific pieces of backstory that I think are useful to understand who some of our characters are and why they're at where they're at. So I'm thinking like maybe, of course we got confirmed there's going to be a Jesus flashback. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something for maybe Negan, at least a little bit of flashback. That'd be cool to see that. Or maybe something with the Whisperers, because they are introducing the Whisperers as a new set of villains, and it would be useful, I think personally, if we got to see how they became like that. We see them in this dehumanized state, right, that they're in, right now, and kind of the things that they have to do and the things they're willing to do in order to survive. But how did they get to that point? So maybe some flashbacks for them as well too. We'll see what that entails and how many flashbacks they decide to do. But happy to hear that we're going to see Jesus at least in one more episode with a flashback episode here, and maybe the scars. Explanation for how they got the back X scars and that kind of stuff for Daryl and Michonne. And we'll do just a few questions for today's Q&A that you guys have sent through in the last few days. And if you have any others, send them through for me now. If you have any video topics you'd like to see me cover, send them through in the comment section below. And I'll keep them for maybe next week or the next few days, and we'll do another one. Winifred Ikeda says, does this foreshadow The Walking Dead's fate? So when Z Nation has been canceled, and I did quite a few videos on that one as well too, I'm probably going to move on from that now. I think, everybody knows at this point, Z Nation, find another zombie apocalypse series. It was on Sci-Fi, has been canceled. If you haven't seen the videos, did lots of them, and giving our thoughts on all that stuff relating to that. So that's pretty big news in the zombie apocalypse, fandom right now. But moving on from that, because we all know that it's what it is, and it doesn't look like anything's going to change with that. So does it foreshadow The Walking Dead's fate that you have another zombie apocalypse series that did okay for some years and has been canceled off now? I don't think that it really will affect The Walking Dead, with The Walking Dead still being one of the most in-demand series on TV. And, I really feel like now, a couple years ago, a few years ago, it's like Netflix is there. It's like, yeah, I know, streaming, this kind of thing. But I feel like more and more all the time now, as the years go by, more and more you're seeing more people get on Netflix, more people get into streaming, more people do that. And I'm glad that AMC has come out with their kind of premiere service where you can kind of sign up and get sort of the extra bonus things and that kind of stuff if you really love Walking Dead and that kind of deal. That's smart, because that's what they're going to need to do, because you have all of these online streaming services. You have Lord of the Rings coming from Amazon, right? That's going to be huge. The budget on Lord of the Rings is new TV series on Amazon streaming is going to be humongous. I forget exactly how many millions, but it's a huge budget. It's a crazy budget that they're going to do. So there's going to be some awesome other series coming out in the next few years, and most of them are going to be streaming. Stranger Things streaming, that one's streaming. So the world is changing for sure, and it's changing fast, right? But does this other series, Z Nation, being canceled or ending, foreshadow The Walking Dead's fate? No, I don't think so. I think that AMC has done a good job with how they've handled it. They've expanded it into a few series. We may see Fear of the Walking Dead go away, though, in the next few years. I hope not. I hope Fear lasts for another 3, 4, or 5 years, whatever. But I just don't know if the fans are there, right? I don't know if there's enough fans there for Fear. I don't know, in terms of what they need it to do, how many viewers they want Fear to do. I feel like Fear will always be sort of this additional companion series for The Walking Dead, and it will never be it'll never be received as popularly or be as popular as the original Walking Dead was. Of course, in its prime. I hope that the Fear of the Walking Dead can continue on for many more years, but I do think something like Z Nation ending, it does speak to kind of the changes in interest, and maybe for Fear of the Walking Dead, couple more years. But I think the original Walking Dead is pretty much set for at least a few, 3, 4, 5 years, something like that, before we can even think about them canceling that. Fear of the Walking Dead, maybe, though. Red Elastic 98 says, White Walkers versus the Whisperers, who would win, right? So there's an idea for a video. The whispering wouldn't work against the White Walkers. They'd be able to see them through, right? So they'd know that that's a person inside, and they'd just kill them right away. So the White Walkers got to take that one. The whispering trick would not work against the smart Whites or White Walkers. No way. Michael Carson says, Trev, but what's the meaning of life? So I don't know why you want to ask me this question. This is an entertainment-based channel for the most part. But, the meaning of life, this is a tricky one. Whose life? The way I like to look at it, if you want to look at it from a phenomenological point of view, in terms of philosophy, without getting too much in this and spending too much time on this, because I guess it could be a whole video. But you get to decide what the purpose of your life is going to be, what the meaning of your life is going to be. And I think everyone's life purpose, is not the same. I think it can be different. If you want to go with other definitions, you could say to procreate, to continue, to, I don't know, it's maybe you could go with a mechanistic, deterministic way of looking at it and say there is no point, and life just happened out of the infinite amount of random generation that occurs in the universe, and if there's a multiverse, and it just occurred out of that. It's up to you. That's your choice. I don't think there's any way to say, 100% that any way of looking at it is totally wrong. You kind of have to be outside of the system to analyze the system in that way, right? So that's the best I can do for you in like 30 seconds. There you go, Michael. Right? So decide a meaning for your life, man, and go out there and do whatever it is that you find to be meaningful for you. Pablo Colin says each of the Walking Dead villains group have their own themes. The Vatos were thugs, low-life theme villains. The Governor's group were hostage, Stockholm Syndrome theme villains. The Hunters were cannibalistic, of course, torture-themed villains. The Wolves were barbaric, animalistic, savage-themed villains. The Saviors are gang, thuggish, criminal-themed villains. And the Whisperers are horror, slasher-themed villains. Yeah, you can look at it that way. I like that. I like that kind of breakdown. They all have to have... What about the Junkyard group? You left them out. They're like, a scavenger type of untrustworthy set of villains, sort of. So they all have their own themes. They all have their own kind of identities or gimmicks or sets of things that they do, and that's true to way to look at. You could look at Negan's Saviors as kind of like a gang where Negan's wearing like the a leather jacket and that kind of thing. So I hear that. And then the Whispers being a horror slasher type of group. Well, that's true, and it's cool because we never seen, like as you mentioned, these others. The closest group to the Whisperers would be the Hunters. And the Hunters, really, when you compare them to the Whisperers, they're not that similar. They're a little bit similar, but not really. The Whisperers really are their own deal. And they're awesome, man. Really cool. Last one will be from Cole Lukes, who says, Season 4 of Fear was okay, but some of the stuff was just ridiculous. I almost lost it when we were introduced to the guy who was obsessed with making beer, even this far into the apocalypse. I was like, okay, there must be more interesting characters to create other than Jimbo, right? So the beer guy, Jimbo, which they used it okay in the end. They kind of came back to it with the poison and everything. But, so... I really feel like in Season 4 of Fear, it does have a slight, especially in the second half, maybe not the first half, but the second half of Season 4 of Fear really has a Z Nation type of vibe going to it. It's like halfway there. It's like halfway between Walking Dead and Z Nation. That's what the second half of Fear is, especially with the zombie hurricane and all that stuff, and kind of some of the characters that felt a little bit silly, like Jimbo did feel very silly to me. So, but it's okay. It's what it is. It's Fear, and again, the expectations are different for Fear than they are for the original series Walking Dead. There's no other way to say it. There's no question about it. The expectations are different. We're not expecting Fear to ever be as good as the original series. Like I said, nobody really is, and it probably will never be, except for maybe certain little sections, right? So that'll be it for today's video, guys. If you liked it, and I hope you did, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new, at the bottom left, you can subscribe. Thanks for all your support, guys, over the years, and I'll be back again pretty soon. Hopefully not too long of a break this time in between videos. I'll see you guys again soon for another Walking Dead video. As always, this is Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.